If you want to win the game, apparently one of the best things to do is flip the table. Yeah, today we're talking about Ekbok once again, because it turns out that AMD released a 1 minute and 21 second video talking about their partnership with Xbox moving forward. And the things being said are incredibly eye-opening, just like they were with the Sarah Bond video about what Xbox and Microsoft will be doing in the future moving forward. And in my personal opinion, this is honestly fantastic. It's almost exactly what Xbox was trying to do back in the early 2000s with the original OG Xbox. Don't believe me? Take a look.
Booting a PC 20 years ago would take like 3 minutes. It could take longer. It could take 5-6 minutes. These guys played with a PC, pulled stuff out that wasn't necessary, changed the BIOS.
And I turned it on, and so it booted in like 3 or 4 seconds.
Bill Gates almost jumped across the table. He was so excited when he saw that.
Bill immediately looks at us.
Why the doesn't Windows boot like that all the time? Yeah. Bill wanted to see it multiple times. He's like, turn it off and do it again. Turn it off and do it again.
I saw his jaw drop. This is a guy who knows more than most people in the world will ever possibly know about PCs. Saw a PC, probably for the first time, come on immediately. And we had a software emulator of a PlayStation that had been written for Windows. So you can imagine the executive surprise when we took a PlayStation disc, stuck it in the Xbox prototype, and immediately Tomb Raider came on screen in all its glory.
You see, even back then, before the first Xbox came out, they were already trying to play PlayStation games on their own hardware, and that is incredibly cool. The idea of having a console that is basically just a PC OS that gives you the ability to play any game from any platform, from any service on that one device is incredibly appealing. That's why PC gaming is so ubiquitous. That's why I enjoy it so much. It's that freedom of being able to do whatever you want with the hardware that you've purchased. And that is one of the best pro-consumer moves out there. People have been getting incredibly angry about this recently, by the way. Everybody's been talking about the fact that Xbox is no longer going to be having direct bespoke hardware and getting off-the-shelf parts, even though we don't even know anything about what's happening right now and they're just making total assumptions about things. People are saying Xbox is dead. Even YouTubers who are directly part of Linux are saying this specifically as well, which is kind of wild because anybody who understands what's happening right now knows that yeah, this is going to be pretty crazy. They're directly going against Steam on this and the Linux community. So calling somebody dead when you're literally making that video doesn't make a whole lot of sense, if you ask me. You see, in my opinion, people are stuck in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s of video games, when you had your specific bespoke piece of hardware, and that's all that it played, and that's all that it had, and the only way you saw any sort of competition was through exclusivity on that platform. And sure, at that time frame, that was a good idea, I guess. Not really for me because I grew up really poor. So I moved to PC gaming quite often and quite quickly. And that's been an incredibly eye-opening thing because I don't like being restricted on where I can buy my games or how I can purchase them or what I can do with them. I want full access to them all the time, which is also why I really can't stand the Epic Games Store locking away games either. It's not good for the customer or the consumer to have exclusivity on an open platform. But as we saw previously through Xbox's original video about what they wanted to do with it, you can kind of see where things are going on right now. Because during that 1 minute and 21 second video by AMD, they were talking about my two favorite words, backwards compatibility.
AMD and Microsoft are advancing a bold shared vision for the future of gaming, one that enables seamless gameplay across any screen, placing gamers at the center of the experience anywhere. We're so excited to be deepening our relationship with Microsoft and build on the over 2 decades of partnership, innovation, and trust. From the earliest days of the Xbox 360 to the most advanced consoles such as the Xbox Series X and S, and the recently announced ROG Xbox Ally handhelds. Moving forward, AMD will go beyond building custom chips for Xbox consoles to designing a full roadmap of gaming-optimized chips combining the power of Ryzen and Radeon for consoles, handhelds, PCs, and the cloud. And we're doing it all with backwards compatibility, so gamers can access their favorite titles across platforms, delivering on a promise to both gamers and developers. Together, we are building a vibrant open ecosystem that delivers the next generation of graphics and immersive gameplay powered by AI that includes new foundational models to accelerate the state-of-the-art in rendering. From console to cloud to handheld, AMD and Microsoft are building the future of immersive gaming, We are so excited to be working with Microsoft to bring all of this tech to gamers everywhere.
Oh, look at that. After my own heart, I would have honestly loved to buy a PS5 Pro if two things were specifically designed for it. Number one, if it was $499. That's what that console should be costing. Let's be real. Number two, if it had the ability to play old PS1 and PS2 games. I'm not even asking for PS3 out here, Sony, okay? All I want to be able to do is grab my copy of Xenogears on the PS1, slap that bad boy into a PS5 Pro, and play that game directly, just like I do right now on my PlayStation 2. And I know at some point the capacitors or the disk drive on that fat SCHP 3000 PS2 is going to blow or break one day, and it's going to be a nightmare trying to either find another one or find a PS3 that is fully backwards compatible. I don't understand why people aren't angry about this overall. The fact that PlayStation is literally cutting off a ton of old games from you and your library from you simply because they want to believe in my generations. And it really goes to show the hypocrisy, in my opinion, on why Xbox is held to one specific standard, but other companies are not. Look at the Asus ROG Ally X and everybody talking about it saying, oh, it's not going to play your Xbox games. It's going to play your PC games. And even though Xbox is doing really great on Play Anywhere, why are we holding Xbox to this standard and not PlayStation? The PS5 should be able to play all my PS1, PS2, and dare I even say PS3 games. And for $700, I would hope it should. But apparently for some reason, that's okay. I guess that's the old pesky Xbox tax rearing its ugly head around once again, huh? God, every day I keep getting shown that that thing is actually real, and I was just wrong about that the entire time, huh? But you see, it turns out it's not just backwards compatibility that's going to be coming around for the new Xbox. It turns out, according to Jez Corden, that AMD has seemingly suggested things like Xbox Quick Resume could arrive on its next generation gaming chips in partnership with Microsoft. Very interesting. You see, this is the part where I think things are going to be getting really wild and crazy, where you don't need to have that console to have those features that are in the next generation Xboxes or even the ones that are there right now. I would honestly love to have Quick Resume or a Windows big picture mode right now on my PC, or the ability to even go back and play all of my original Xbox 360 and OG Xbox digital purchases on my PC right now. And it turns out that may be, in fact, what's happening, because according to Pure Xbox, they tweeted this. Report: Xbox is working on a massive backwards compatibility overhaul called Xbox Classics. This would be honestly fantastic if I could simply load my Xbox PC app and then go through and say, hey, you've got Lost Odyssey on your Xbox 360 digitally purchased. Why don't you go ahead and play that right now natively onto your PC with our new set of AMD chipsets? Now that would be a cool way of doing things moving forward. Or just simply going through and updating the Xbox PC app to have that layer of original Xbox 360 games available to you as a consumer or user of Windows specifically. I think this is what people are truly getting misconstrued and not really understanding what Xbox is trying to do. They're not fighting the console war anymore. Everybody's so attached to that specifically about how many consoles a game company sells or how many units are sold by a game or how validated they want to feel about their purchase overall. Xbox is playing the actual MAU game, where they're trying to go ahead and not make Xbox a console, but Xbox as a platform similar to what Windows is right now. The thing is, though, there has been misinformation going around about those 360 and OG Xbox games, because Insider Gaming said this: Xbox is bringing original and Xbox 360 games to PC via emulation, that it's claimed. Now, of course, emulation is going to be one of the easiest way of doing things. We already have things like Xenia that is able to emulate original Xbox games, and Xenia Canary that can do Xbox 360 games. Hell, in Canary, you can even get achievements on those 360 games as well, even though they're not going to be connected to the Xbox 360 library directly or boost your gamer score, but it's fun to see them pop up either way. The thing is, though, Xenia is not going to be working with Xbox either, because again, as everybody got confused about the previous articles, it turns out that Xenia, the Xbox 360 emulator developer, denies working with Xbox Classics claim. And honestly, I never expected Microsoft to work with a set of developers or modders that are going around and creating emulators directly for Xbox specifically. I kind of feel like they're going to have that homebrewed internally directly, or create some sort of like Proton layer for Windows or game mode specifically. The thing is, though, Would it have been cool? Absolutely. But we saw this rumor happen, I think, with PlayStation before as well. And I think that was with PCSX 2, and that got turned down on top of that. So I don't really think a lot of companies will be like, yeah, let's go ahead and work with the guys who are emulating our software directly without telling anybody. That's just completely open source. And I'm sure they would love to be hired by a giant multi-trillion-dollar mega corp, right? Yeah, it's not going to happen, no. And even Jez Corded had to point out directly himself, saying this: Xbox is going to bring Xbox games to more devices, but this particular scenario isn't a thing at the moment. And I kind of agree with him on that as well, like I said before. It'd be really weird to hire a bunch of emulator developers to work on an emulator for your own when you can just have it internally directly. But personally, I feel this is actually fantastic. I would love to be able to go through and not require myself to buy a console to play my old games simply because I purchased them on that platform. And the fact that Microsoft is turning Xbox into a platform more so than an actual console is a good thing from my PC gamer perspective, because I'm not going to buy those consoles. I'm not going to buy a PS6. I'm sure as hell not going to buy a PS5. And I have no need for a Series X or S. I already have my Steam Deck. I've got my PS2, and I've got all my games emulated on my PC. So why would I go out and spend another $500 to $800 on a piece of plastic for one or two games or backwards compatibility? Microsoft, in my opinion, is doing the right thing. They're going out to the consumers that they know are going to try and purchase their games onto their actual service and platform, rather than trying to sell them a box that gatekeeps them into that specific walled garden. And this is why I wanted to play that video from before about what Xbox was trying to do when they were designing the original Xbox in the first place. Emulating PS1 games on their own hardware is basically what people are pretty much hoping is going to happen right now with Xbox in their next set of consoles. Playing PlayStation games from Steam or Epic Games, playing old games from GOG, playing every game from their back catalog on the Xbox PC app. The thing is going through and combining all those things together to be able to play on one specific place. And that is a much better value proposition to me as a consumer, rather than just being like, we got God of War and we got Last of Us. Which sad dad simulator walking thing do you want to be? And the crazy part is people are actually upset at this. I've seen PlayStation fanboys now trying to decide what is a console and what is a PC, melting down completely, not realizing that even their own consoles are x86 SoCs, also made by AMD directly, and are manufactured at Foxconn, and they can't figure out why everybody's making fun of them. Or the fact that people are also freaking out like, you got no exclusives. Well, neither do you. So what are we even talking about here? This insanity of what's happening is going to be seeing a bigger meltdown overall. And honestly, the gaming space has been crowded for far too long, and I feel like every single platform and device should provide its own unique visibility and own unique thing bringing to the market. PlayStation, they want to rake you over the coals with every dollar spent. Nintendo, they also want to rake you over the coals with every dollar spent. Kind of weird when you think about it. Xbox, they're turning their console into a platform specifically and giving you access to everything. The thing is, though, how are they going to pan this out? How is it going to even work? And there are a lot more questions that need to be answered, more so than just going around and being like, every game, you guys, it's all good, don't worry. Because again, this is Microsoft. This is Windows. They don't have the best track record, if you ask me. And a lot of the times they really do kind of fuck things up every now and then. Well, every now and then is not really the right word. Basically all the time. So it's going to be wild to see what actually happens with this next batch of consoles, and even the updates that we're going to be getting towards PC. The entire moniker of everything being an Xbox seems to be the real thing moving forward. And like I said back in 2017, making Xbox into a platform more than just a console is going to be the best way for people to have Xbox in their mouths. Hold on. Maybe. That was a very poor choice of words. And it honestly seems to be working because everybody's losing their minds about what's going to be happening in the future. My personal guess or prediction, which could totally be wrong, by the way, you're going to be seeing Xbox's own version of their console, specifically designed by AMD for that, and then have that SoC and APU. You'll also see other game companies as well go around, like Asus, Acer, and etc., have their own designation of what they want to have with that device as well, with those actual specifications, whether or not they have a base minimum, and then move up from there. You'll also probably see a lot of people suddenly get Windows updates where the Xbox PC app finally works. That'd be fantastic. And then, of course, you'll have the Asus ROG Ally on top of that, too. Basically, just giving you access to every single game on that Xbox platform on whatever device you actually want to have. Turning your console into a dedicated PC, having the ability to add Steam and any other storefront as well, but also providing that specific Windows OS, which makes you into a user of Xbox directly. And you know what's crazy? This kind of reminds me of that old lawsuit Microsoft had back in the day, where they were being sued because every other PC company was putting their OS onto every single PC, and they were basically running a monopoly on the OS market. Kind of seems like they're going back to the past, don't you think? But who knows what is actually going to happen, and who knows how this is going to play out. I don't really expect people to be like, oh, 100 million consoles of Xboxes sold, but it would be kind of funny if they count every single game console or every single device that has Windows as part of a console sale, which would really be hilarious for PlayStation fanboys to cope about. But I really feel like this is going to be the way moving forward, no longer being tied down to a specific bespoke box, but instead being tied down to a platform. Whether or not it's going to be better, who honestly knows, because they could exert far too much control over what you're trying to do on your system, and in reality, I don't know how they're going to pan this out or what the limitations are going to be in these systems moving forward, but it's going to be really fun to test and see as well. My biggest thing, though, old games, backwards compatibility, give it to me. I want it on my PC. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I need to have, especially from any device as well. And if they can get it right with a Proton layer and not use the cloud or rely on that specifically to emulate what I'm doing, I'll be even happier when I can finally download Lost Odyssey again and go back and play that, or even Shadow Complex, or even Fable 2. Would be kind of neat, right? But you know what? Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Are you excited for this new information? Do you think Xbox is going to finally pull this off? Or are they going to drop the ball like they usually tend to do? Love to hear what you guys have to say. If you want to see more of this kind of content, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, and live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 85,000 subscribers, and I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you want Discord access or remotes during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Saturday nights, that's right, today, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, I stream live on this channel. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Once again, Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, on this channel right here. It is insane as 800 to 900 people basically just embarrass me with AI TTS and make me do horrible things to myself. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!